We start with a very difficult day on the roads. A series of fatal crashes in nearly all corners of the valley. One investigation in the far end of US 95, where 5 cyclists were killed after they were hit by the driver of a box truck. News 3's Steve Wolford has been there at the scene all day. And Steve, you talked with one of the surviving cyclists in the group.
Yeah, that's right, Marie. We're right by the Nipton Road turnoff here along US 95, which is where traffic was being detoured pretty much all day. But we can tell you now that US 95 is open once again. This all happened at about 10 o'clock this morning on the southbound side of US 95. According to investigators, there were about 20 bicyclists riding along with an escort vehicle when, for some unknown reason, a box truck came up from behind and hit them.
It's the worst thing I could ever see in my life.
Recently retired Metro Officer Michael Anderson describing the horrific scene along US 95 south between Nipton Road and Searchlight, where 5 bicycle riders lost their lives in a horrible pre-Christmas crash. According to Anderson, it began to get windy, so some of the weaker riders fell back behind the safety vehicle.
They did have a safety vehicle with them. From what I understand, though, is the safety vehicle ended up in a position where there were bicyclists both in front of it and behind it at the time of this crash.
NHP says it's still unknown why the driver of the box truck ran into the trailing bicyclists.
Basically, the speed of the box truck, when it hit the riders that were behind our SAG vehicle, basically pinned them between the truck and the vehicle.
NHP says the driver of the box truck is cooperating with investigators and they do not suspect impairment at this time.
We've just lost the lives of 5 people who are, it's just a horrible tragedy. I can't think of anything more profound to say than that. It's horrific.
Fortunately, it just continues to climb. We're actually around double what we were seeing about a month ago. Wow. So as you can see, those numbers just continuing to soar. And in fact, that data that you were mentioning, second in the nation, that comes from the White House State Report. We just got that December 6th. In fact, you can take a look at it right here. It shows our state coming in second only to Idaho with our high test positivity rank now standing at 22.1%. And today's COVID-19 task force meeting, members discussed more disturbing statistics as well.
Extremely concerning numbers really across the board here.
State health officials showing grave concern over data shared during this morning's COVID-19 task force meeting, as Kyra Morgan with the Nevada Department of Health and Human Services compared Nevada to our neighbors.
As of right now, we are still recording more cases per capita than Arizona and California.
Task force members combed through the various data points throughout the state, which now includes some of the Thanksgiving impact, and also expressed alarm at our staggering hospitalizations and deaths. With 50 dead from COVID-19 Thursday, Nevada sets another record. And this chart from the Nevada Hospital Association shows hospitals are at a steady incline. It's a frightening struggle, Battle Mountain General Hospital CEO Jason Blake described for the task force today. He says his staff is emotionally and physically drained.
We're feeling the stresses of an increased volume of patients coming through our doors.
Now, a new disturbing ranking revealed by a White House State Report released days ago. Nevada is second in the nation for its test positivity rate, second only to Idaho.
Obviously very alarming, 22.3%, and that puts us second highest in the nation.
COVID-19 transmission is so high among Nevada communities, the task force said contact tracers have lost control.
Is that we have such rampant community transmission at this point. I would assume, I personally assume anywhere that I'm going outside of my household, I will be potentially exposed to COVID.
It's good to see you. I mean, really no surprise here. You know, when your economy is trying to recover from a COVID coma, dealing with that will be job number 1.
The hangover from the coronavirus will continue in Carson City. The legislature meets in 53 days. Democrat Mo Dennis.
Well, I think this is probably going to be one for the record books because of the situation that we're in.
Here's the math lawmakers will face. They already cut hundreds of millions from the 2021 budget over the summer's special sessions. They will have, according to the Economic Forum, our state's money experts, about $8.5 billion in revenue to spend for the next two-year budget. State agencies have requested $1.2 billion above that. That's why the governor has asked agencies to prepare budgets that trim 12% in both 2022 and 2023. And that's a problem for Republican State Senator Scott Hammond.
That concerns me because, one, there are some agencies that can afford a deeper cut than others. And some that, quite literally can't sustain much of a cut at all.
The governor unveils his budget proposal in January. Democrats still control both houses, but do not have a supermajority in either, which would allow them to pass a tax hike without Republican votes. But in a pandemic, which industry can afford to pay more? The bullseye had been on mining, but according to Mo Dennis,
Until we get the budget, it's really hard to tell what's going to have to happen.
what lawmakers hope happens is that a vaccine works and the economy starts to heal. The Economic Forum predicts we won't be back to normal until 2023.
But let's not forget, after the Great Recession, we were among the last places to recover.
UNLV's Michael Green.
We really depend on Dr. Fauci and the scientists a lot more than we might want to admit.